game. Blouses.
Gallon chuck.
Disaster.
Spaghetti.
Disaster.
Well, I mean, I'm no doctor.
We now join America's most popular show, already in progress. Everybody loves
Mitch and Sean. You guys are the greatest duo.
Fantastic.
That team sure did suck last night. They just plain sucked. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
Everybody, thank you for joining us. Welcome to another edition of the Postgame Pints podcast. My name is Mitch Gallo with Sean Campbell. You heard the crack of the beer as Sean has popped one of his Campbell play-by-play IPAs. I got my Angry Gallo Ale, and Campbell, I'm ready for a solid 30 to 40 minutes of sports talk.
Oh, yeah. We got a special episode for you today. And, of course, we are brought to you by LaBrosse Brewery, labrosse.com. Check them out, 133 LaBrosse in Point Claire. Get your Campbell play-by-play IPA. Get your Angry Gallo Ale. There is going to be a special coming up because we're moving on from this. We're going to be going on to another step. So make sure that you stay tuned here on the Postgame Pints podcast and at labrosse.com. But, Mitch, there is a reason I am wearing this jersey today, and
love it.
And this hat. Do you notice the hat too?
Is it Nordiques? I can't make it out.
It is Chicago
it's the
Blackhawks.
Chicago Blackhawks.
Yes.
Very nice.
Does that make sense?
It sure does. You should have worn your Patrick Kane jersey, or at least had it hanging up somewhere too.
Oh, I thought about it, but I thought this was more apropos.
Jersey-wise, that makes a lot more sense.
We're going to talk a lot of baseball, actually, this episode on the Postgame Pints podcast, because, Mitch, you want to welcome our next guest?
Of course, longtime broadcaster, former voice of the Montreal Expos, and a good friend of yours and mine, Elliott Price, joins us on the podcast. What's going on, EP?
I don't know if Elliott's there just yet. I think we there we go. All right, hold on. As we got to make sure that he's sitting back, he's relaxed, he's getting ready to go here on the Postgame Pints podcast. I got my Expos jersey. I've got my Chicago Blackhawks hat on. And you know what? It's just a great pleasure that we welcome Elliott Price. How you doing, Elliott?
Okay, how you doing?
Not bad.
I had this big grand intro for you. I hope you caught it, didn't miss it.
Yeah, you almost lived up to what I deserve.
Well, it's good to see Elliott, and for starters, how much do you miss Montreal?
There are things I miss about the city. There are things I don't miss, but most of what I miss is food, man. That's just as I tweeted it the other day. It's like chalet barbecue. There's tasty food pizza. There's bagels. There's Lester's smoked meat. It's endless. And
I thought you were going to say Campbell and I, but okay.
No. Are you kidding? My daughters gave me crap because I didn't include them in my top 5 things that I missed. I told them, look, if it was a top 10, you had a chance.
I'm just curious for what kind of top would it be for you to miss Gallo and Campbell? Like, would it be a top 50, a top 100? Like, at what stage would it be that you would miss us?
What are you paying me for this? I need to, for including
Dave.
my list.
Where's Dave? Dave runs the show here. I'm not sure.
No, it's not about paying me for this. It's about paying me to move you up on my list.
It's always about the bottom line. Look, Elliott, we want to talk a lot of baseball with you, if that's all right. I know you still love the sport, and you still you're heavily involved. So why don't we just go back in the past? Like, why is it your sport? Why is it the sport that you love so much?
Well, anyone that comes from Montreal and goes back to a certain date would understand. It's all about my dad. He was baseball, hockey, crazy both, but it's hard to. I grew up in the Montreal Forum, watching hockey games, but believe it or not, I'm like 10, 11 years old. We're not sitting together. We couldn't get 2 tickets together at the Montreal Forum. I'd sit in the grays, which became the whites, whatever they were. My dad sat in the reds, and finally they painted the blues. There were reds and blues at the Montreal Forum, and to make sure that they made maximum amount of money, they painted the blues red, so they charged them all the same price. I sat in the corner of the rink, and my dad sat below. So I was in the blues, and he was in the reds. I could see him from where I was, and I could hang out with his cronies between periods. But when baseball came, I was 12 years old, and we sat together every game, and it was a game changer for father-son relationships. That's a great card on the bottom of your drinking cup there.
Yeah, I was gonna hold on because I put it on a reason.
I know set. I know that set. I have it. Brett Barbary, nicely done. He married better than we did. But
see, I looked at the set, okay, because I have the set, and I was like, oh, I got to put a card underneath, and I was like, who is the most obscure name I could put at the bottom that Elliott would know? Brett Barbary.
Well, here's the thing, okay? He's not as obscure as you'd like to think. First of all, do you know who he married?
Someone better than we married.
Do either of you know Jillian Barbary?
I don't.
Okay, she
Dave,
was huge.
hold on, Dave. Make sure you put a picture of Jillian Barbary on the podcast right now.
She became bigger than him, and he was a big leaguer. And I do recall one time, I think that Brett Barbary hit home runs from both sides of the plate. He's a switch hitter.
Nice.
So I went to Ken Singleton and I said, "How many times did you do that?" Yeah, guy must know. Seriously, switch hitter. Guy had to hit between 200 and 300 big league home runs.
Yeah.
He never did it. I go, how's that possible? Brett,
That's crazy.
Steve Jeltz did it. but Singy never did. But Brett Barbary did.
Well, something he has over Ken Singleton, then I guess.
I've done it in our senior league. I've hit a lefty and a righty over the fence. Were you even on the team when I hit the righty home run, Mitch?
No,
you weren't on the team yet, eh?
No, I wasn't on the team yet, and I don't think senior league quite compares to doing it in the bigs. But
no, not at all. League. I'm just saying I've done it at Meads in the kid park at Meads. I did it.
We had a completely different set of media when we played in that league. We were Melnick, Randy Tiemann. I think that Ted Bird played with us. Johnny Elias pitched for that team. Who else was on that team? Do you remember Jeff Lumby? He did mornings at CJFM.
I recognize the name.
He and Bird worked together on that show. So it was quite the collection of media rogues. I'm sure you were much. We didn't win many games. You guys win the championship all the time. It's different.
Yeah,
7 times.
Seven times. We don't include that many media people.
Yeah, we only include the 2 good ones, Gallo and I.
7. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Farrar, that's the only mention you ever get.
So let's go back. And by the way, I think that's a nice story about you and your old man, Elliott. And it's funny how baseball really lends itself to those bonding moments between a father and his son. During those times, who are your favorite players to go to the ballpark and watch?
Well, my favorite player now, the Expos came in and I was 12 years old. I already had favorite players. So my favorite player growing up was Frank Robinson. And he was in the American League. But he got traded to the Dodgers. And I remember Frank coming in, playing with the Dodgers at Jarry Park. And it was just such a thrill. Although I had seen him. There was a story we were going to the All-Star game in 1970. My dad was nuts, right? I mean, baseball was everything. He took 3 vacations a year: spring training, All-Star game, World Series. Seriously. So he would go to these events. Anyways, took the entire family to Cincinnati, 7 of us in a car across America. And we stopped off in Detroit, and I was going to see the Baltimore Orioles for the first time. I was going to see Frank Robinson play. This was so exciting. Tiger Stadium, and the Orioles are there, and Frank doesn't start. Terry Crowley starts in right field. And it had to, during a pennant race later on, during the 80s or something, the Expos acquired Terry Crowley. I had to come off the bench, and I had to explain to him why I hated him.
Very reasonable reason too. And then how about that, right? You have Frank Robinson as your favorite player growing up, and then all those years later, he's the manager of the Montreal Expos while you're the play-by-play voice.
Yes.
Did that ruin it for you?
No, I like Frank, and we got along. We got along really well, and I mean, there were days when Frank and I. Every game, there's a meeting between baseball's a wonderful thing because every single day, if you're covering a baseball team, the manager meets with the media. I used to meet in Frank's office, and so that you all sit around and wait for someone to ask a question. In Montreal, no one asked questions. There were two kinds of reporters: the ones who knew nothing and didn't ask anything, and the ones that knew stuff and wouldn't ask. Because the people that didn't know anything, they didn't deserve to get their info from you. So everyone would sit in Frank's office and no one would say anything. So Frank and I would have this conversation. It would only be like Frank and I talking about baseball and the two factions. So one would leave Frank's office not knowing anything anymore, and they didn't know anything to start with. And the second would wait until those people left to ask Frank their questions.
That's too good.
It's also funny how some things never change when it comes to the media.
Yeah. There's a group of people that work off everybody else. You guys are forced to ask questions, and we were back then. We had to have one-on-one interviews, and so we had to ask the questions. There was so everyone would stay back and let us ask, and then they do their work off of our work.
Could you imagine Frank Robinson in Zoom media availabilities, like the way that media is handled right now?
I think he would have enjoyed it more. He would have been able to not have to meet in a room with all of these people, and he'd be able to just do it off a screen.
Maybe. It's so weird now because, I'll fill in for Dan. So then I'll jump in on the Zooms and I have to let the PR guy know, hey, I'm filling in. So when I put my hand up, I'm just not some rando. And then you're asking people, but they don't see you. It's not scrum. I hate scrums, by the way, but now it's like a organized scrum versus being able to walk around a locker room or just having that one-on-one conversation with Frank, and you could just sit down and have a conversation. No microphones needed. You're just getting regular information that you're going to use for a broadcast.
Yeah, but so much has changed. I mean, back then, especially hockey, every day, like in baseball, there's a game every day. You got something every day. The guys are available every day. They can't help not be on the field, at least in non-pandemic times, and they'll deal with you. When it comes to hockey, we used to be able to deal with the guys one-on-one. You go into the dressing room after practice, you pick out who you want to talk to, and you talk to them, even if there's other people doing scrums with individual player, because today he found out he's not playing tomorrow, whatever it is. You wanted to do a special feature on someone, no problem. Man, as you guys know, you got to go through the team now to get any individual interviews, and the relationships between the reporters and the players is fractured partly because of that.
Yeah, and I feel that storytelling and broadcasts and everything is hurt by that, Elliott, because you just that relationship being fractured, as you mentioned, you're not able to deliver to the fans the type of information that maybe the team doesn't tell you.
And here's the thing, for the most part, I bet if you asked all of the players, how would you like to not ever do this again? I think most of them would vote for it. And coming out of this, I'm afraid that
me too.
They are going to change the rules on you, and there's going to be a whole lot less face-to-face, and that'll be a shame. Yeah. Because they've gotten used to it, and now they're going, well, we only have to change from here to there to not necessarily be where we were previously, and make it easy on everybody so we don't have to do what we used to. It's a shame. It really is.
All right. It's the Post Game Pints podcast, Campbell and Gallo, with our special guest, Elliott Price, of course, former voice of the Montreal Expos. I just want to give a shout out to Wolfpacks wolfpacks.ca for all your puppy needs. It's a subscription based. You go check out the website. You'll get a package once a month. Your dog will love it. Mitch, what's the words?
Woof, 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 woof.
Elliot, I gotta
wait.
you.
Let me write that down. I won't remember.
Woof, 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 woof.
Woof, woof, woof.
Elliot, I got to ask you, because I know you still love the game of baseball. You talk about your time with your dad, and now I know that you have children of your own that love the sport, and you're still up with the sport today. Like, so when you're watching the season that's about to start, or started, 2021, who are some of your favorite players that you love watching? Like, who are the ones that you have to tune in? Miles is like, let's tune in. Let's watch this guy at the plate, at the bat, or on the mound.
Right now, getting Miles to watch baseball is iffy at best, and that says something about the sport. And he played it; he doesn't play it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten crazy back into football and basketball. He watches both sports now after not watching sports at all, like crazy. But baseball, he's just starting to. I mean, he pitched. It's the only thing he enjoyed about playing baseball was pitching. As Gallo would know, and I would. There's fewer things more fun in sports. It's you on the mound with the ball. So watching baseball, and that's pretty much the perspective they give you, is how, if you're interested in how pitchers set up hitters, it's the most interesting thing in the sport. Watching from the center field camera and watching the catcher move about and catcher pitcher, and how they deal with each other, and the way that they try to outsmart the hitter. That's my favorite part of the game. So while I love to watch an Acuna, when I love to watch a Tatis Jr., my favorite guys are the pitchers in the league, because it is, and they need to make sure that this is something that's going to keep people going to the sport, because they're killing it that way. Man, your guy's lucky if he makes it to the 5th inning now, the way they drag pitchers out of the game. But I'm looking. I was disappointed this afternoon. I wanted to see DeGrom pitch, and the game was postponed. That's what I look forward to tonight. Urias is pitching for the Dodgers. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So that's pretty much. And the 8,000 players I have in fantasy baseball. That's I've lost it this year. I lost my mind.
I knew you were going to say that about the fantasy baseball. But as far as the pitchers are concerned, I have that game on my docket too. I want to see DeGrom pitch against the Phillies, and was really disappointed when that game was rained out. He's one of the guys I like watching because, Elliott, I feel like compared to your generation of pitchers, the art of pitching has been lost on this generation to a certain degree. The managers and the pitch counts, it's all part of it. But also, everybody's trying to crank back and throw 95, 96, 97 compared to in your generation where, no, you're pitching to contact.
No,
and
nobody threw 997. Everybody, and this is not an exaggeration. Everybody throws 95 now. 95 was the mark, right? And you could throw 95. Now you got to throw 98, 99 to differentiate yourself from the crowd. Everybody throws hard, but the guys, the kind of pitchers that you mentioned, there's still pitchers like that around. You can watch Scherzer, and you can watch DeGrom, and you can watch Wheeler, and you can watch, there's so many good pitchers in baseball. The top 2 guys on just about every staff are a treat to watch in how they go about their business and the analytics that they've done to find out what works for them. Look at the guy, I was reading a story on the Burns kid from Milwaukee, right? And how he's turned his career. Right now, he's lights out, at least through 3 starts. He's almost untouchable. He went back to look at his analytics and found out that on his 2-seam fastball, they were hitting like 400 against him. So he stopped throwing it. He threw like 3% last year, and his ERA is under 1 now, and it was pretty much the same last year. And to find that in the pitchers and what they can and can't do, what makes them better, and watching them improve, it's a treat to watch. I still love baseball.
All right, I got to ask you about my favorite player. Mitch knows who my favorite player is. He's a pitcher, but he's also a hitter. He could put him anywhere on the field. The moment that Shohei Ohtani came to North America, I fell in love with him. I've always loved pitchers that can hit. And I know that there's a long list of them, but there's so few. And I love that you're using a pitcher in games that he's not pitching. Just your thoughts on Shohei Ohtani and how come there aren't any more of those players like that?
Because it's not easy. Hitting is hard. Pitching is hard. That one guy could do both at the level that this guy can is outrageous. And he will blaze a trail. The fact of the matter is, most of these really good hitters have pitched at some time in their life. And they've been told, no, you have to decide. Are you going to be a pitcher? Are you going to be a hitter? Brad Wilkerson, who played for the Expos, was a tremendous college pitcher. And they told him he had to make up his mind. You want to hit or you want to pitch? You got to concentrate on one of them to play in the major leagues. In the first week of the season, he threw the fastest pitch, and he had the highest exit velocity on a home run. Same guy, right? Now the Rays drafted a kid, McKay, who's capable, and so you're starting to find more and more of these guys that can do both, and are going to be allowed to do it in the major leagues if this guy succeeds. He's got to keep that arm healthy.
And I hope he does, and I hope you're right that he is a trailblazer. And it's funny, right? Because we've seen the reverse too. We've seen a guy like Rick Ankiel come up as a star pitcher, and then all of a sudden the guy can't throw a strike anymore. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to be a center fielder instead and be a slugger. So we've seen the reverse.
It sounds easy,
Yeah.
but it's not. Let's face it. If you're a good hitting pitcher, you're hitting 220. That's a good hitting pitcher. That's not good enough to be a hitter in the major leagues, unless you hit the ball out of the ballpark, and then you could be a pinch hitter. And by the time they institute the universal DH, won't be no more pinch hitters. I mean, look at Panda. He hit another pinch hit home run today. He's hit in the first 2 weeks of the season. The former Giant third baseman has already hit 3 late inning pinch hit home runs. If the pitcher doesn't hit, that guy won't be in the major leagues anymore.
I couldn't believe when I saw him on the field 2 weeks ago during opening day. It just blew my mind that he was still playing. I want to ask you the question you probably get the most often. I don't know if you're sick of answering it, but I'm sure everybody wants to hear your response. Are the Expos going to return to Montreal?
Well, hopefully some baseball team returns to Montreal. The Expos, I don't know. It certainly is trending in that direction. I'm a little concerned now because there's been all this talk over the last couple of years on the possibility of the Rays and the Expos sharing the team. And we're getting to a significant juncture right now in Major League Baseball, especially with the money that didn't come in during this season and last season. And we're also at the point where the players and the owners are reaching the end of their current collective bargaining agreement. And that means money. And money means you take this, we'll give that. And part of it would be expansion, big expansion money coming in. And this would be the time where Montreal might have been able to get an expansion team, but are you locking yourself out of that possibility by getting yourself locked in with Tampa Bay coming for half the time? I think baseball's coming to Montreal. And I thought, if you asked me 10 years ago, I was at 0, right? It was, the team had left. There was no groundswell for, and then things started to percolate little by little. Montreal finally realizing what they lost and letting the team go. And I have to believe in one form or another, it's the biggest market without a baseball team in North America, not including Mexico. I mean, and they love their baseball and they want baseball. So I would think someday, hopefully I'm alive, hopefully you're alive, hopefully your kids are alive to see baseball again in Montreal.
Would you come back?
Don't have kids, do you? I know you.
Yeah. Yeah, my boys play ball, and I've been coaching. I've been coaching the last few years. He's got a pretty good arm too. I'm not gonna lie. But here's the thing, Elliott. Would you come back to Montreal to call a couple of games?
Oh, I'm not coming back to do a couple of games.
Yes.
What
Yes.
We're gonna let Elliott do a couple of games.
Yeah. But is that you still have that passion to be play-by-play, to do something like that, to dive into?
I'm doing games this summer.
Oh, are you? Okay, good.
It's a local professional team, the Welland Jackfish.
Okay.
They have a beautiful little stadium in town here, and CFTB in St. Catharines. I do the junior games for the Ice Dogs. So they got together with the Jackfish. They're going to carry games this summer. So I should get 18 to 20 games plus playoffs. So it should be a lot of fun.
By the way, I know it is awesome, and I know that there's a lot of economics that come into play here, but Elliott, it's absolutely shameful that major league teams like the Toronto Blue Jays are going exclusively to television broadcasts and eliminating the radio side.
No. That's not a fair. Teams are not doing it. Team did it. It's going to be teams, though. They're going to be the start. No way. I just can't see that happening. It is a great disservice that they have done to Toronto Blue Jay fans this season. Hey, and they don't even have Dan doing the games all the time. I mean, he's one of the best in the business. He can get away with their best broadcast team, of course, is Shulman and Buck. And if that was all the time, Dan, because he's done baseball for so long, he might be able to lend some of the things needed for radio. I can't see another Major League Baseball team doing it. I can't see the Blue Jays doing it again next season. I really can't. They had to know that they were going to get scratched for this, and they did. And I really can't see that being the case in the future. Baseball on radio is a completely different animal than on television. And you're doing a disservice to your fans if you're carrying that. You're doing a disservice to one side or the other, right? Fans on television don't need to and don't want to be told what the count is, what the score is, where the runners are, where the fielders are positioned, because they can see it. And people on the radio need to hear it over and over.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, I feel the same way. I fill in for Dan doing, play-by-play of hockey. You know that we started with the Montreal juniors and all that stuff, and I'm getting to do more and more, but I know it's radio. And I haven't done television, but I know that it would be completely different on television. I talked to Dan Robertson, who does it all the time, and he's like, it's a different animal. It's just, and I know they want to mesh it all into one. I'm so scared of that because I have such a passion for radio, because I think that it's a different element.
The only other guy that was capable of pulling it off was Vin Scully, and they only did it during his innings. So he did radio and television at the same time. But when he wasn't on, radio had their separate broadcast, because pretty much only Vin Scully can do it. So tell you what, when the Blue Jays hire Vin Scully, I'll listen.
Okay.
So you mentioned Scully. He did the games by himself. You ever have to do that?
I did. Not a lot. I don't remember doing a lot of it's not fun. The one of the best parts of doing the games and listening to the games is to know about the personalities on the radio. You have, now 4 hours of broadcast time to fill. And a lot of it is people getting to know you as a broadcaster. There's no time for that in hockey. I mean, it's constant action. Lucky if the analyst, like, as you know, okay, you've got 20 seconds, fill. That's it. Your time is up. Thank you. You got to be able to fill that 20 seconds. You got all kinds of time to talk about baseball and life and circumstances and the city and food. And it's just, baseball broadcasts allow you to be yourself a lot more than any other broadcast, and people can learn who you are. And that's part of the charm of listening to baseball on the radio.
Yeah. Elliott Price and his analyst, the hot dog that he's eating. Right? That's you loved having your food during the broadcast, did you not?
Here's the thing, though, okay? When I did the morning show, how often do you take calls on whatever subject it is? And I think that the most called in moment when I did the morning show there was, do you barbecue in the winter? With Pacioretty getting run over by Chara as number 2.
Yeah, I think we all remember that one.
That was crazy.
Yeah. Mitch, I just want to ask, Mitch, do you want to do anything more before we get to our pop quiz and wrap things up here with Elliott Price on the Post Game Pints podcast?
No, let's go to the pop quiz right off the hop here.
I didn't know there was going to be a quiz. I did not study.
Okay, here's the thing,
As
Elliott.
usual.
I think the question's too easy for you.
Okay.
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 Usually every guest that comes on the Post Game Pints podcast, we do a little pop quiz at the end. I do think the question is a little too easy for you. So then I can expand it if you can't get it, but I think you can get it. So this question, and you can, by the way, Mitch doesn't know the question. So if you want to turn to Mitch for some help, call, phone a friend.
There's plenty Mitch doesn't know.
Yeah, I know. But I think this is right up your alley.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to the Expos, which I know you know very well. And I know that baseball just started. So we just had our opening day. I would like to know the 5 pitchers that have been the opening day starter for the Expos more than once.
More than once.
There's 5 pitchers that have been the opening day starter for the Expos more than once. I kind of feel like you're going to name 5 players and get them all like right away, but we'll see how you do.
All right. Steve Rogers.
9 times.
Okay, I'm good.
9 times.
9 times.
That's better than our 7 times when you're talking about the championships before.
Yeah, well, you're just opening starter. They didn't have anybody else. It was Steve Rogers. Okay.
Wow.
More than once.
More than once. Bill Stoneman.
Nope.
I'm out. I only got one, man.
He did. Okay, so I had the list of single. Bill Stoneman did do an opening day, but only one.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about Pedro?
Pedro? Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
Pedro, none. I'm glad you stopped me before I said Pedro.
You were going to say Pedro?
Dennis
Zero.
That's unbelievable.
I looked at this and I was like, none. I was like, I thought I was going to be on the list. I was like, I just started looking. All right, so
give
Steve
me
Rogers,
El Presidente.
6 times. 6 times, Dennis Martinez.
I got another one. I'm so pleased because this would be plenty embarrassing. He got none.
So you got the first. You got the first 2. 9 was the top. 6 was the second. Now there's another guy that did 3, and then another guy did 2. So who'd you say?
Another guy did 3, and another guy did 2.
Yeah. So Javi Vasquez is 1. He did 2. And so now you have two names left. One guy did 3, one guy did 2. There's 2 names left.
One guy did 3 and one guy did 2.
Yeah.
All right. This is harder than I thought. I should know this. I wasn't ready and I didn't prepare. No, don't give me any.
No clues. Okay, that's fine.
No clues. I'm not.
You're not Brett Barbary.
I want one clue.
What?
Did I watch these 2 guys?
No.
Mitch, you definitely know them both.
I watched them both.
No, I think you both. Well, I know Elliott did. Not to throw ageism out there.
Well,
but,
I saw almost every game, so there's a real good chance. I certainly saw.
Mitch, you know both of them. Yes.
I certainly saw every single opening day they ever played.
Yeah. So you've gotten 2 wrong answers.
Oh man,
we have 2 names.
This is brutal.
I remember not being at, but watching an opening day as a kid and thinking he had the most ridiculous facial hair I had ever seen. Dustin Hermanson.
Oh, Dustin Hermanson traded him to St. Louis. He went. I think he went in the Tatis trade. What's that?
He did it twice. Dustin
Hermanson.
You're missing one. You're missing one.
They never. I had a nickname for Dustin, and I thought it would have been fantastic, and it never caught on. I thought they should call him the Wind.
The Wind?
Yes, Dustin the Wind. Hermanson. Come on. And the Wind, like it's.
Well, hey, you were on radio. You could, if you pushed it, you could have got it.
Bryn Smith.
No, he did it once.
3 times. Did it once.
What about
everybody that did it once?
What about Carlos Perez?
Once. No way. There's no way Carlos opened 3 times.
Once.
Carlos played 1 year everywhere.
Yeah,
that's true.
How could Carlos open up a season?
Do you guys want a clue?
Was it a pandemic back then too, and all the other pitchers were sick?
Campbell, what year was it that Carlos Perez did it?
Oh, I don't have the years.
You don't have the years?
Yeah, I can look it up, but I don't have I kind of wrote it down on the. Do you want a clue?
Sure. He's a lefty. Jeff Fassero.
Jeff Fassero.
3 times, eh?
Yeah. So Steve Rogers, Dennis Martinez, Jeff Fassero, Javi Vasquez, and Dustin Hermanson, the 5 pitchers to be multiple day. The other starters, Do you want me to go through the names? Mudcat Grant, Joe Sparma, Carl Morton, Bill Stoneman, Mike Torres, Steve Renko, Dave McNally, Charlie Lee, Brent Smith, Floyd Humans, Jim Bullinger.
Yeah, I remember.
Perez.
I was good. I could have given you him. He like you get a minute. Look at him. He had like really weird ears, man. It was like
Carlos Perez, Tony Armas Jr., and the final opening day starter. Come on, everybody's favorite, the innings man himself,
Bartolo Colon.
Levon Hernandez.
Oh, Levon Hernandez.
Levon. Nicely done. No, Bartolo Colon was never there for opening day.
Yeah, he was acquired midseason.
Yeah.
Hey, Elliott, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Post Game Pints podcast. And of course, that pop quiz brought to you by Cunningham's Pub, the best wings on the planet, not in the country, not North America, the planet. Check out their Facebook page. You can check out their website, Cunningham's Pub. But Elliott, thank you so much for joining us, and great to catch up. Great to see you. Glad you're doing well.
Ship some wings.
It's all about the food.
I hear they're really good. Everything's about the food. More important than my children. I told you. And I love my children. But would I give up one of them for chalet barbecue? I have 3 kids.
Oh, you know what, Elliott? While I have you here, I have to ask you this. I'm going to go back at TSN Team 990 times, okay? Because I told this story on the air the other day. Mitch, you remember this story. In 2007, President's Cup. Remember, we covered it. Wayne Buse made us cover it for like 7 days straight.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys did morning, whatever.
We were there at like 3 o'clock in the morning setting up. Yeah.
Okay. And I was just starting. I was like an intern then, and I was just had like a shift here, a shift there. You did on the Sunday afternoon when everything was wrapping up. You did like a show from 1 to 4. It was the last show there, and we were in that booth, and I was opping, and you were hosting for 3 hours, but you had no one with you, and you did the radio show by yourself. But because you needed a back and forth, you threw to me like every now and then. We had a conversation, but for 3 hours. Not once did you say my name, because I was pretty sure you had no idea who the fuck I was. Because you just finished your sentence and you looked at me and I just responded. And then you spoke for like 7 minutes. I'd speak for a minute, and then you spoke for 7 again. But not once in the entire 3 hours did you say my name, because I didn't think, I was like, he has no idea who the fuck I am.
Do you want to know something? I'm old now, and I don't know who the fuck you are.
Thanks, Elliott.
Thanks, EP.
All the best.
Take care, boys.
Have a good one.
Well, how's that for your entertainment value?
They've done their job very, very well.
No.
Come on.
VBF.